Oh my goodness. How long have I been offline? That's my question for everyone here. Did I not go live like whatsoever? No, I did. I did go live. The stream must have cut out at some point. Tell me what was the last thing that you saw, because I've been talking to myself for the past 27 minutes, and I was like, I was wondering why there wasn't many people in the chat. Mikey said, "Did I just get invited?" And I was like, "No, I didn't uninvite you. I swear I didn't. I don't know what happened, but I didn't check that the stream was actually still running, and it must have stopped for some inexplicable reason." So here we are. Welcome to the Q&A. I should have been letting my phone be also online, and because I think some friends were messaging me. Thank you for commenting that, Stephen. I really appreciate it. Very, very much. It just popped up now. Oh, geez. So nothing was happening. Oh, okay. So Zachary was responding to my comment, but not necessarily the stream being live. So we're live now. Yay for problematic internet. Steffi says, "Hi, Chris." I say, "Hi, Steffi." Uh, I said hi to you before, Steffi. Was I online when you first said hi? That's a great question. He didn't turn it on. Apparently not. Apparently it didn't go on. I thought I was. It said end stream. It said I clicked go live, and it was going live. I thought, and then now it wasn't. So yeah, let me woohoo. Yeah, there's chance. Okay. What's your hair care routine? Oh, thanks, Steffi. It's called waking up and not showering for weeks at a time. That's not true. Are you using Rogers? Well, okay, so clearly none of this stream did happen because I clicked start and then I had this whole spiel about Rogers being down for all of Canada. Yeah, I see all the chat happening now. For me, there was nothing at it until now. Okay, we're gonna start again. That's cool. I got all of my stuttering out. I was haphazardly checking the chat and things popped up and people were saying hi. So I thought, okay, I must be live, and people just aren't that talkative in the chat. God damn it. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you very much for saying, "Where did you go?" Because I was here and I was talking. No offense, Rodney has a better hair care routine. Oh, definitely. My hair is. I need a haircut right now, but I'm going away in a week to do a show, and so I don't know how they're going to want my hair for that show, and so I've just been keeping it a bit longer, basically. Um, should be good. He's had practice. Okay, so we're live now. Let me know if the stream is completely stuttery, if it's buffering like crazy. If you didn't know, Canada had like a national outage for Rogers Internet over the last couple days. People couldn't do anything, and so I'm blaming my internet issues on that. And I'm not going to tell you that I'm with a Canic who resells Bell, which didn't go down. I'm not going to tell you that whatsoever. I'm going to pretend that I'm on Rogers Internet, and that's the reason for and that's the reason for for the internet woes. I can see the chat moving now. I felt so lonely talking to myself. I was like, well, I guess I'll just go through the questions. There were a few questions before that I started answering, and now I went and I pulled Barony off the shelf, and I talked about Barony for a long time. Sound and video good for you. Amazing. Awesome. Thank you, Mikey. Thank you, Rocket Magnet. Thank you, everybody. I was really trying to troubleshoot. My internet can be a bit spotty, and so I scaled down the output resolution to 720p. So I hope that it makes it less laggy and buffering. Yeah, Rogers shut down. Rogers shut down across the entire nation. basically. So if you were on Rogers, everyone was like, oh, I can't get in contact with you. I cannot call you. I was supposed to meet up with a friend, and we chose to meet up in a park, and our friend gave us the location of the park, and he said, ah, yes, just south of the old dog bowl. And yeah, we were wandering that park for like half an hour, basically. Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you for waiting around for me talking to myself for 27 minutes when I wasn't live. But I'm live now. We got some questions. If you have any questions, throw them my way. We're going to be here chatting about board games. Yeah, and just hanging out, basically. Well, I wish we could listen to your original banter. Well, okay, I'll give you the highlights. Well, I'll respond to the same questions because there were questions. First, I'm about to drop a bombshell about Slippery Jim. So if you don't know Slippery Jim, this was a question from Chance, actually, at the beginning of the thing. He said, what are the origins of Slippery Jim? And Slippery Jim was meant to be just a one-off character. Well, all of my characters are one-off characters until they come back, because but now I feel guilty that so many aren't appearing, because all I want to include is Slippery Jim, because Slippery Jim to me is the funniest, because he's the creepy, oh, sweet little tasty treat. Oh. Sorry, that was a flashback to April 1st. But a secret about Slippery Jim is that, and I don't know if this ruins the magic of Slippery Jim or not, but I'm going to tell it to you all, and if you can tell me if it ruins the magic. What would you say to people who don't necessarily love board games? Well, Steffi, I'll get to you in a second. I would say that you should play them with me more, and we could find that love together. That's what I would first say. But the second, I would say that it's okay. It's okay not to love board games. I think for people who say they don't love board games, I think you just haven't found the ones that you love yet, right? There's a whole bunch of selections for people who, for all various interests, depending if you want to spend 4 hours to 8 hours at a table, or if you just want to have a social activity to do together. I think that is why board games have taken off so significantly. And I said I would get back to it in a second, but I'm doing it now. I think that's why they've taken off so significantly, and because there's such a variety. Like there's no reason why you can't find one game that you love, even if it's something like Celebrity, or Celebrity has been, Monikers is the board game version of Celebrity. They just give you a bunch of cards for Celebrity if that happened to coincide with your interests, right? Zalong09, hi from Hamilton. Hi, hey, how's it going? We're just hanging out. So that would be my sort of initial suggestion, is that you haven't looked hard enough, or potentially you haven't found the right group of people who mesh with your particular interests, right? I think it's okay for people to have different interests. I would like everyone to have the exact same interests as me, because then I'd have more people to play with. But that's a good question too. But I want to get back to talking about Slippery Jim first, because it's very important to me. Steffi says, I love Celebrity. Wow, I just picked it out of the air. Then you should try Monikers, because it's just Celebrity in a box where you don't have to write the stuff down. They've just written all the titles for you. I'll get to your question, Jess, in a second, but I need to unveil the truth about Slippery Jim. Slippery Jim, I thought it was going to be a one-off joke, because I thought it was funny that someone would name their first name Slippery, last name Jim, and I still think it's funny, and I will stand by that. It will always be funny. But I looked up online to find a little image for Slippery Jim, and I just searched creepy guy on YouTube, as you do, and I came across this image, and I was like, perfect, that's Slippery Jim, clearly. And then my friend pointed out to me a couple weeks later, he said, oh, that looks a bit like Steve Martin. I'm like, that's not Steve Martin. There's no way Slippery Jim is Steve Martin. Slippery Jim is Steve Martin. I commissioned him. I hired him to be on the channel. I hired him to dress up as creepy guy. Well, he actually just dressed up as a creepy guy for Halloween. That was his Halloween costume. And that's so when I looked creepy guy, that's why it was the first thing that came up. And I don't know if that breaks the magic for me, but yeah, it does. It's Slippery Jim Steve Martin. That's what I gotta say. Okay, let's get to the questions. I'm so excited to see the chat. You have no idea. I was so lonely. I was like, oh, I guess people don't interact. I guess they just want to relax and it's fine. Yeah, Chance. Yeah, it's Steve Martin. I don't. It took me like a week. I was really distraught for a week because I thought I'd found something gold in the internet that no one could ever find. Um, but now I'm happy with his cameo on the channel, and I feel like he's taken on a life of his own. That he has surpassed the original actor playing him or portraying him, and uh, yeah, sorry. And hopefully that discovery won't mar Slippery Jim coming back. But I also feel bad because Slippery Jim always takes first precedence, first choice in terms of being able to pop up on the screen. And I wanted to be able to figure out a way to get him to pop up in this, but he didn't. I couldn't figure it out. Okay, getting back to the questions. Jess says, any advice for people who are too competitive to play board games and they don't have fun if they don't win? I understand that. I understand that mentality. I've played with a few people like this, and it can really sour a room, right? My first instinct would be to say play something cooperative, because if you're playing cooperative, then at least you're all working together. You don't have to be mad at everybody else. I mean, I get mad at people more in cooperative when Zach just goes rogue and does whatever he wants. But, that aside, when he doesn't take Pixis in Attack on Titan and takes Thomas Wagner instead. Oh, and that happens way too frequently. Yeah, so I would say cooperative games is a good number one to start. And then number two, maybe just playing lighter games. You know what I mean? That have less time investment. Because I feel like the more time you've invested into the thing, then the more that competitive nature has a chance to bubble up. But if the rounds are quick, something like Coup or something that just really goes by fast, it then starts to lessen the, oh, I need to win. And it's more just, oh, remember that time this happened, or remember that time this other thing happened. So yeah, that's what I would say for the competitive nature, hopefully. If anybody else has any suggestions, drop them in the chat. What are your go-to game stores in the GTA? Board Game Bliss, 401 Games, Game Shack, Legends Warehouse, Board Game Bandit, Level Up Games. All of those, yes. My go-to game store has always been 401 Games, because they're right downtown Toronto, and they consistently have what I think are the best prices. Board Game Bliss is close, and often comparable, and same with Meeple Mart, which is down on Spadina. That's a really nice one. I like it. It's in an underground sort of area. They don't have the best website for searching things, but if you're downtown Toronto, again, that is a good one to go to. I haven't really checked out. I'll be checking out Game Shack, all the other ones, Legends Warehouse, Board Game Bandit, Level Up Games. I've heard of Level Up Games. I haven't really heard of the other ones, but 401 has always been kind of my go-to, because you can usually get anything there, and they usually have a great price, and it's in a convenient location. You can order it and pick it up right from downtown. Board Game Bliss is far up north now, and they also don't have an open store. They're going to open soon, but I like being able to go in and browse. So having a place close to browse is nice. There's a place close to me called Face to Face Games. They've got a little bit of a smaller selection, but their prices are like $3 more consistently. So it's the cost of a TTC fair. So sometimes it makes sense of me going there because I can walk there. But yeah, 401 Games is always my go-to. Although Board Game Bliss now, I find, looking a lot into Kickstarters, I find they're often great for Kickstarter bundles. They'll say, hey, we've got this bundle deal. Yeah, we've got it for like $1 cheaper than Kickstarter, and you won't have to pay the shipping. And it's like, yeah, why would you ever order it on Kickstarter when you can just order it through Board Game Bliss at the same price or less? A friend of mine sent me a thing being like, yeah, look at Marvel Zombies on Board Game Bliss and how much the deluxe cost, and then look at everyone paying the shipping through the nose. And it's like, yeah, you should have been buying it from your store or checking in to see if they can get that retail pledge, because it really makes a difference. Um, so yeah, I think now I go between the two. But you know what I dislike about Board Game Bliss, which makes me stop going to it or making it front of mind, is because I frequent BoardGameGeek.com a lot, and I also frequent Board Game Arena, and I just don't have time to. I don't have another browser to put in my bo. My when you start typing it out, it says, "Do you want to go to this website?" It's always Board Game Geek or Board Game Arena on the two different browsers that I have, and so then I just type 401, and it usually pops up 401 games first. But I'll usually cross-check prices between the two. Um, Chance says, I still love it. Slippery Jim, perfect. Steven, we call monikers hats because you write it all down and put it into a hat or a bowl. Yeah, that's exactly it. That's celebrity, right? That's the thing. There's my favorite twist. I don't know if this is in the rules of monikers or not, but my favorite twist is that the fourth round, because your first round you can say anything, second round you say one word, third round you mime it, and then the fourth round you have to mime it under a sheet. It's the dumbest thing, but it's if you want to extend the rounds a bit more, try that one. I think that's funny. Did the Hat Saga or Saga, that's the one. Did the Hat Saga end in happiness, or did the Olive Garden Void claim it? The Olive Garden Void is holding on to it for me. They are. So my plan is end of August to drive down to Ohio, and Jesse from Quacklope has already said he's going to put me up, and to go down and just film a bunch of videos with Jesse and Alex, and just do some collaborations, which will be fun. And the main reason, I'm sorry, Jesse and Alex, if you stumble across this video or if you're here hiding, the main reason is I want to get my hat back. And so the Olive Garden will be on my way. Because I'm very attached to that hat. It was from when I was in a show. It was from when I did Rainbow Stage. It was Seymour's hat, so I miss it. And it also doesn't make I put it on when my hair is crazy, and I haven't. And I want to flatten it and just keeps everything nice and tight and doesn't have me sticking out in the middle. And I've also got a really big head, just in general in life, because of my enormous ego, and because I've got a really big head. It's I was going to say apologies to my mother, but it was smaller when she was birthing me, at least. So it's hard for me to find hats that fit, and so it's great. Okay, I'm getting behind on comments here. The Void reminds me of Trogdor board game. Remind me what the Void is, Mikey. I can't. It doesn't come immediately to mind right now. Anytime I hear Void, I think Voidfall, which, God, I love Anachrony, and I'm so tempted, but I want to play more Anachrony, so I don't. My son just stormed off when he lost Century Afternoon. It was kind of funny, actually. Yeah, it can be. This is in reference to the taking things too seriously, and I get taking things too seriously. I take everything very seriously while I'm in it, but I've also now learned, and I've had to practice this, to just let it go, right? If you're in it, you want people to be taking things seriously. I think you have to, because then it's fun to be competitive with each other, right? You don't want to ever people just give up or don't try or whatever. But then when you're out of it, it needs to immediately go away, and I don't know how I really developed that skill, but I think it was because I realized I just took a look at myself. I was like, is this fun? Or maybe I saw it reflected in other people, and I'm like, that doesn't contribute to the fun of the room, right? And so if it contributes to the fun of the room, that's the main goal. Co-op like Trogdor, yeah. I mean, Trogdor is I do want to play Trogdor. I really do. Because I do love Strong Bad. Checking the email. I took an email to the market, and I got it some kind of fish sauce. I need Attack on Titan. He cried for a solid 30 minutes. See, like that sucks. But I mean, good on you for not letting him win. I don't know. It's really hard to find that balance. I don't have kids, but I will hope to convert all of my nieces and nephews into board gamers when they finally get old enough to play them. So we'll see how that works. I think you can go a bit easy to shorten the point gap, but I'll never lose on purpose to make someone feel good. Burninating the countryside, burninating the peasants. Jessica, if you instill Jello wrestling with slippery Jim rule for people who are too intense, they'll probably dial it back. That's true, and that's the punishment. You might have to get in a nice little pool of Jello with slippery Jim. If you're too intense, it'll show you what intensity really means. Yes, cooperative is great. Love cooperative. Board Game Bliss is also good for imported games. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Hey, Chris, are there any crowdfunding campaigns that you backed years ago and still haven't received? One for me is going to be going all in on Cthulhu Wars. Only a couple. Etherfields Wave 2 is probably the last, and then Trudvang Legends. I actually won Trudvang Legends. I've been very fortunate with board game giveaways, and I feel like I can't enter anymore because I've gotten my share, but I did a contest on Kaman's campaign on their Facebook page where you had to create a character, an NPC that's going to be in the game, and so you tag a friend and then you turn their name into like a Trudvang sounding name. And so I, of course, did a deep dive into the world of Trudvang and then tried to do an entry for each race and each like classification of that race, and like looked at the etymology of the words. I did a deep dive. We'll just leave it at that. But Zach, who's been on the channel a bunch, he will be Zvokarnir, the gate groom, bridge keeper of the Great Chasm. That's his official title. That was the title I put forward because Zachary Groombridge. So yeah, I wanted to him to have something to do with the bridges. And the history of Trudvang is that dwarves, they climb up from the depths and they cross the bridge and they go up, and then they like find their calling, or they get a name. Basically, they get a last name because all the female dwarves live in the bottom of the mountain, and then they send all the dwarves up to like emerge into the world. I think that's the legend. And so Zvokarnir is this big troll style dwarf. He's like a huge dwarf because there's different races of them, and he stopped at the bridge, and he never got a last name. Like, he never got a last name. He just stopped there, and he's only left his post like 3 times, and each time no one has ever gotten past him. He's the guardian, right? Like, he's making sure nobody goes and disrupts any of the secretive dwarf stuff that's happening down below. So I thought that was kind of cool, tying in the bridge thing. And so that one was picked, and so they gave me a copy of Trudvang. So I'm still waiting on that as well. And then I bought the dwarf expansion, the Kickstarter exclusive one, and the plastic tokens because I was happy that I won, and just in case the Zvokarnir was in more of the dwarven thing, I wanted to get that to make sure that we could run into Zach's character in the game. So yeah, those are probably the 2 outstanding Kickstarters. I also have a point and click adventure one called 3 Minutes to Midnight that looks cool. But that's a video game, so I don't think it counts. Those are the 2 most outstanding, but it's not an unreasonable amount, although I guess that was like 3 years ago. Yeah, so not like huge in terms of Kickstarter delay, because you're gonna wait 1.5 to 2 years anyway. We do the sheet thing too. Oh, for celebrities. That's awesome. That's so funny. Yeah, a friend of mine introduced it, and I died. Cody Crane says, "Where can I put my garbage?" I got something that I can throw in the garbage. Maybe you can put it along with that. Cody is a friend that I got a pop toy for in Origins, and yeah, that's what I'm gonna get in reference. A 5-pound baby has eaten 1 pound of blueberries. At what percent will the baby be considered more fruit than baby? That's a great question. That reminds me of those questions to get into this. I can't remember the game. It might have been like a King's Quest sort of thing. It was this whole complicated thing, and then it ended with, how many pancakes does it take to shingle a doghouse? And you had to answer something, and then you could play the game. It was a very old computer game. A 5-pound baby has eaten 1 pound of blueberries. Well, at what percent will the baby be considered more fruit than baby? Well, you gotta eat 5.1 pounds of blueberries. I think if you're 5 pounds, you eat 5.1 pounds, and you're 51% blueberry, and that's it. Or you just stuff them in Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, and then they're immediately a blueberry. Hi, Chris. What would you think of a board game review if the reviewer has only played the game 1 to 2 times? Most of the reviewers for Ankh praised the game, but never got deep enough to find the flaws. That's a great question. And this is something that I struggle with in terms of doing reviews, especially now that I have more reviews outstanding, right? You want to be able to play the game enough times to feel like you know it. And I think it all depends on the game, and it all depends on the reviewer as well, and how experienced they are, I feel, or how experienced they are with mechanics. I find the more I have been seriously doing this, and really looking at mechanics and deep diving and trying to like consider and formulate my thoughts on games that I have played, and when do I get to the point of where I feel comfortable of making a review, versus like a preview or a first impressions. And I think that stuff is valid. I think it does get shorter at the more you've reviewed. I know Tom from the Dice Tower, his answer to this question is, I play the game as many times as I need to, and however many times as that, I'm not telling. And you know why he doesn't tell? It's because it's gonna be 1 or 2. It is, but I feel like at this point, Tom having been doing this for 10, 20 years, however long it's been, there's a way for him to see the mechanics and the workings behind it, or presumably, like I think this is the assumption, the mechanics and the workings behind it a lot quicker than potentially somebody else. So I think it all has to do with your experience with the genre, and I, I don't know. I try to play it more than that. I try to play it at all player counts. I try to really make sure it's at that point where I'm not looking in the rule book, I feel. You know what I mean? To even check like minute rules. That's when I personally feel, or I think might feel comfortable giving a review. But then that's tough because you get games that are very simple to learn, and then does that mean you only play them once? Ideally, no. Yeah, it's a tough question. I'm not sure I have an answer for you. I think I think with Ankh, it's like my review of Ankh was not controversial, but it is slightly different than the norm, right? And it's just reflective of my own experiences with the game and with, yeah, I wish, I was thinking about Ankh the other day, and I wish, I want to still own it. I ended up selling it. I sold it at cost to some person in Quebec. They found it, and then they paid for the shipping, and that was great. It was a great interaction. I hope that everything got to them all nice, but there are times where I wish I still had it because I was like, oh, I could play Ankh. And then anytime I think about it, or I play a game that's not Ankh, and I go, oh yeah, I can be spending my time on these more consistent experiences, and that makes me happy that I got rid of it. That doesn't really answer the 1 to 2 review question, but hopefully it's sometimes the flaws jump out. Sometimes apparent flaws may get wiped away in terms of as you get more into the game, you go, that doesn't matter as much because I like this other thing, right? Where it may have really affected the presence of it. For me, I'm having this problem with the Night Cage. Honestly, I've played it now twice, and I'm at the point where I didn't really enjoy those 2 plays. I have a lot to say on it, which I'll do a full review on it, but this is just like a little preview for an example. I have. I'm at the point where I'm like, I don't really want to play it again, but I know I should, and I know I have. Like, I personally want to and will and have to for being able to formulate a sound opinion, right? It's almost like if you're playing it 1 to 2 to 3 times and you're like, this is amazing, well, keep playing it a couple more times and see if it's still amazing. Or if you're like, this sucks, well, play it just 1 or 2 more times and see if it really does suck. And that's tough. It's tougher on the this sucks end because I would much rather be spending my time playing games that I'm really excited for, and not subjecting my friends and game groups to a game that I already am like, I'm not so keen about this, but we're gonna play it, and that's gonna be our evening. So it's a bit tough. Okay, I gotta keep moving on. Glad to see you're online. Thought the Canada game. Um, where did we go? Do the sheet thing too. Glad to see you're online. I thought Canada War might have taken you out already. Oh yeah, the Canada War with Watch It Played is starting live at 1. Apparently, that's what John was saying, and yeah. Um, I have to go to an appointment, Chris, but I love you and thank you. Oh, thanks, Steffi. Thanks for dropping by. Jack Lalian says, yeah, says the hat's definitely a priority. Yeah, absolutely it is. Although Board Game Co. is just coming to the chat, so don't tell him that's the reason. Any Kickstarter which you had backed in the past, but now thinking about it, you have 5 reasons not to back it. Tainted Grail. I didn't back it. My neighbor was thinking about canceling his pledge, and I was so excited about Etherfields that I was so hyped on Etherfields. I was like, I need to buy everything Awakened Realms has ever made, ever, from now until the end of time. And yeah, and I shouldn't have. I got it because my girlfriend was somewhat interested in King Arthur, and we've played it a few times, and we've always fought in it while doing it, because I really like the combat system, and I want her to like it, and she really likes the story exploration, and I want her to stop going rogue. So yeah, Tainted Grail was definitely an impulse buy that didn't pan out, unlike the impulse buy of Massive Darkness, which paid out really massively. She said off screen, it's not my fault, I'm a free spirit. She heard me talking. Hi, Board Game Co. Trogdor's delightful. Yeah, Board Game Co. will respond to the stuff in the comments that I'm unable to get to because I'm so backlogged. Okay, here we go. I'll try to catch up. That's a pretty great Trogdor impression. Thank you very much. Yeah, Dangerous 2. This time, it's not Dangerous 1. I'm very proud of my strong bad impression. I used to have a good strong sad too. Ow, feels like a broken neck. I could never do Homestar Runner though. My friend could do a really good Homestar Runner. In all seriousness, I do wonder if Ankh stays forever. I do really like it, but so far it's not closing the distance on others I like more. And I think that's a different conversation on if it's good or not. Ankh. Oh, I think about the games that were awesome, and man, were they awesome. But it's just the games that weren't that made me get it away. Strong bad impression. Loved you and Zach's video on Massive Darkness 2. Will you be doing more coverage on the expansions or the characters? I'd like to. I'd like to again play it a little bit more, and then at least rank the characters. I think that one could be fun. Yeah, the expansion. I don't have any of the expansions. I just got the base pledge, and I don't think I'll be seeking out the expansions because there's so much content in that base pledge. I might want to get the Druid just to complete all the character set, but I've also made my insert now, and there is no room to add anything else. So, listen, Dwarf Whisperer, calm down. Grabbing a brew, nice. Alex with all the expansions. It should last 2 to 3 decades. Yeah. Is Board Game Oracle on your radar? You can set it to Canada and would aggregate prices across websites. Yeah, we were talking about this recently on the Discord, just because somebody was saying, "Oh, can you put the prices for the hidden gems in our hidden gem bracket that we're doing right now?" And then someone brought up Board Game Oracle. I've used it in the past. I haven't used it as frequently as I should. Or as I would like to, and I need to remember to keep it top of mind. Again, it's annoying that I'm going to type in board game something, and I have to get all the way to O before it autofills. But yeah, it's an awesome resource. I think it's a really, really good resource. Or it might be Board Game Atlas. Maybe they're both similar. I think Board Game Oracle is the one that we've been using, though. And I love that sort of aggregate prices. I also am less interested in those. I'm not less interested, but I love getting a good sale, obviously. But I get a lot of things on the secondhand market too, just from people directly in the Toronto Board Game Swap group, or that's where I primarily look, and I look for things that are like 50% off MSRP. That's like my target, and if something is that, then I'll contemplate picking it up. And that's how I've built a lot of the collection. Right, my best get was probably I got Terra Mystica for $30 off Kijiji. And it's great. I sent a follow up email because I was going to be like, listen, I'll give you 40. I'm fine with 40. And I was like, hey, are you still interested? Just to let you know, I'm seriously interested in this and I won't ghost you because a lot of people do. And he's like, yeah, I've been getting so many offers, but honestly, if you promise you can pick it up, it's yours. I was like, oh, I can promise I'm going to pick it up. So that was a great get. How many games you have are still in shrink wrap? 0. Even the ones I got from Origins. I'm not a shrink wrap person. I'm a pull it out, punch the tokens, get it ready to play person. Because if I feel like there's an opportunity to play the game, I want to have the smallest barrier to entry as possible. And that is being able to pull up the rulebook quickly, and that is already having it optimized, or as optimized as possible for setup. Question, did you go back to Olive Garden to get your hat? Yeah, we talked about this a little bit earlier. I am going to. I am making a trip just for that, and then possibly meeting up with some other people in Ohio along the way. Which I haven't even talked to Alex about, but probably end of August, Alex. I'll be gracing your door. Chris, adult bevy of choice, go. Cider. I love cider. It's just such fresh, refreshing, delicious. I also like whiskey or bourbon as well. So you go back and forth between like the fruitiest drink possible or like really good whiskey. I worked at a restaurant for a little bit, and we had mandatory staff trainings. It was kind of an upscale restaurant, but I worked an event where it was all about whiskey tasting, and we got to taste like the 60 or 70 proof whiskey right from a cask. And like, I don't drink that much. I'm not a huge drinker. I didn't really touch alcohol until I was 21. And you can in Canada when you're 18, for a variety of reasons. But so I tried the 60 or 70 proof, and it killed me. It burned my taste bud. I was like, oh, what is this? But ever since then, I have found that I can actually taste a little bit of the flavor of things at like 40, which is what whiskey and bourbon usually is. So I think that was a good experience because now I can appreciate it more. Having gone the extreme, it's like I can taste it a little bit better. I don't have a perfect taste. I can't like pick out the pine or the grape nuts or whatever, but I can taste it enough to be able to enjoy it. So hypothetically, you have to pick an accent, but cannot speak the language that accent originates from. Which accent do you pick? For example, British accents are great, but now I can't speak English. So, okay, I'm not sure I understand the questions, but I think it's funny. I have to pick an accent. Oh, okay, so I would pick a German, like, I would pick the German accent, but now I could not speak the German. Okay, well that's not too bad because I only speak French, English, and like barely, not even worth talking about Japanese. I'll think about that. Let me get back to you. Gut instinct says, no, because you can't. Well, could I pick Irish and then just not speak Gaelic? That's kind of a workaround, right? The like the old Irish. Because yeah, Scott Armstrong, you mentioned a bit earlier. Yeah, I did. You have to have creepy music and play by Night Cage by candlelight. You know what? I 100% agree. I think that is the way to make it fun, and I'm gonna have a whole tangent on that that's gonna be my whole review. Basically, is that you can put upon as much theme as possible, but then are you really enjoying the game, or are you really enjoying the people and the atmosphere that you've created, and can you create that with another game? That's my question that I have to figure out an answer for. If Uno had a premium edition for $250, you can get the premium Uno Attack expansion for $350. How many times are you backing it, and why will it be over 2 coffees? Well, Nick, this is a great question. As you know, I love my pension. Matching is one of my favorite mechanics of all time. You can probably hear my cat in the background. I would probably get. Well, I feel like it's going to be a hot ticket, right? Uno is so well known, so everybody's going to want it. So I'll buy up their whole stock and then just resell it for $1,000. And I don't 1,000 each, right? Like I'm going to pair the expansion with the Uno, so it's not a crazy markup here. But I don't see how that decision could ever backfire on me and my bank account. How do you feel about fan-made expansion content? I've been playing some Detective City of Angels fan-made cases, and some are honestly better than official cases. I think it's amazing. I think it's absolutely fantastic. There's no reason why you can't make fan made content and it not be great, because the reason people make fan made content is because they love the game. And they love the game so much that they want to develop it and make it better. And being able to experience that is fantastic. I think Lucky Duck's really revamping their community editor. That's why they've been looking for people to commit Destiny scenarios. I think when that's opened up, that'll provide such longevity and new life to the game at like zero cost to the publisher. It incentivizes people to purchase the game more because there is that additional content. I think people who love things, we're all some sort of fight is happening back there. I don't know if you can hear it, but like we're all really passionate about this hobby, right? And if you have an idea of how to make this thing that's fun more fun, and Board Game Geek is such an awesome resource that people can do that. So yeah, I think it's awesome. There's an Attack on Titan fan-made expansion that is cool, that kind of revamps it. We were also, whenever we play, we talk about the potential expansions that could exist for this game, because it's a kind of a fun thought experiment. And like, what would it involve? Would it be fun? So just having in season 3 there are, some humans who are fighting humans, and just having maybe enemies be able to appear on the inside of the wall that can deal damage in a different way might be really cool. That would be like our fan-made expansion. Myself, Zach, Brandon, those are the people who I play Attack on Titan with a lot. Every time I get an alert from Chris, I wonder, is this like one of those virus emails that moms and offshore casinos send you? Yes, every time it is. It is every time. Except the time where you win an infrequent giveaway. Weekends are tough for me. Love the channel. I'm gonna have to get going. Thanks. That you're probably gone by now, Steven, but if you're not, thanks for sticking around. Appreciate it, and thank you for real for telling me that I wasn't live. Oh, how horrible. Board Game Oracle is awesome. This is a few stores once in a while, but pretty good for Ontario and Quebec stores. Yeah, like anything that is that sort of aggregate, you can't depend on it entirely, but having those resources is so good. Can you take us on a tour where you burn all of your losing board games? Yeah, it's going to be the whole shelf eventually. I do want to do a shelf tour sort of thing. Maybe I'll try to film that before I leave. Scott, how big is that R since every copy of the game? Oh, it's every copy of every game in time and space. Yeah, that's what happens when you burn, right? A weeb's worth of Japanese. That's how much I can speak. The accent thing is funny because you would have other people approaching you trying to speak that language, and you'd just be there like, I can't do it. Yeah, that's really good, because they think that you can speak German and they start talking to you in German, and then they can't. That's not German, is it? I second Armstrong's question. Let's see those burn games. Okay, yeah, I will do a little bit of a shelf tour. I'm thinking of getting Veiled Fate as I really like the flow. 5 reasons I shouldn't. That's a very hard question because I played Veiled Fate now once already. I played it once with Zach. I was trying to get a big group together, but we just played it at the 2-player, and I thought, this is going to suck at 2-player. Like, it's a social deduction. How can it be good at 2-player? And man, it was awesome. It was so much fun. It was like, I don't like to hype things up, right? But it's so much fun. I would say my caveat with Veiled Fate is how much it currently costs, and if it's worth it. I wish that it cost that Veiled Fate Light portion, their lowest pledge on the Kickstarter. You get less thick cardboard and like less great cards. None of that stuff matters. What matter are the mechanics, and the mechanics are really fun in terms of the back and forth. Yeah, so it's just, don't go for like the metal minis. It's fine with standees as well. My copy that they gave me for review has standees and the minis, and like I use the minis, sure, but like the table presence, the game is created off the table, right? Those are some of my favorite games that are lifted off the table. But if you don't like that bluffing aspect, if you don't like messing with your friends, then don't get it. But obviously, if you're considering it, you probably do. Zach and I had a great time, and I love playing games like that with Zach because he purposefully does just just outrageous stuff. I thought he was this blue character the whole time, and he was pink, and he only had 1 point because he was hoping that just random events would push him up. And like it was great because I was green and he was pink, and immediately when he looked at his card, he grabbed the green mini and was like, "Oh, this is cool." And I was like, "Yeah, you probably don't want to pick up the mini that you have." And then he made a big show of like, "Oh no, oh I can't believe it." And then I looked at my card and I saw that I was green, and I knew that that was a bluff. And I was like, "Oh, this game is going to be just the most fun ever." For those of you who don't know Veiled Fate, you basically have a roll, and you want that roll to be the highest up on the track over all the other people, but there are 9 total rolls, so you can move other things to bluff. So I was trying to bluff orange the whole time, and he was trying to bluff blue, and then I was like, "You're pink" at the end. It was great. It's I think for like the components that you do get though, to bring it back down to earth, I think it is a bit too expensive for what it is, honestly. But it is I have had a really fun experience with it. So that's not really 5 reasons, but I think try to get what I would do is wait for someone to be selling it, that they didn't like it, and then you can pick it up on the secondhand market for cheaper. Yes, the Savvy Superbacker. Good choice, good sir. I don't know what that was in reference to, but great. Hi, mate. Been watching you since your Rising Sun videos. Oh, cool. Also one of my favorite games. Nice. I've been making a board game. Was wondering that when it comes out, would you be willing to play test it? Yeah, send me an email. My schedule has been really getting booked up, but we can definitely talk, and there might be a potential. No guarantees, because it would have to be I'd have to be able to fit it in, but hey, if you like Rising Sun, well, send me an email. There should be contact information. The banter between you and your girlfriend are pretty funny. Hopefully there'll be a video of you two together. Maybe her reviewing one of your lists. Yeah, I was thinking about I've been trying to convince her to get on camera eventually. So it's a process. Maybe drop some ideas of what we could do. Her top 10, I feel, and then her top 10 are, I know one of them is Spy Alley. Or maybe she can be on, I think we should do top 10 games that she hates in my collection, because she doesn't like a lot of really good games. And she should be publicly shamed and humiliated for it. Or maybe, yeah. What's your most anticipated Kickstarter? That's a tough question. Right now, in terms of things that will be getting to me soon, I'm excited for Dragon Bond Lords of Val. I'm excited for Peak Oil Profiteer. Those two I was really excited with in the last year. They were on like my top Kickstarters. My most anticipated one though is Iridia, hands down. Like it's just gonna be so good. Or I hope so. I'm learning Circadian's First Light right now on the table. Brutal Insight. I haven't played it. The only Shem Phillips game that is Shem Phillips, I think, is Architects that I've played. I haven't played Paladins or the other Naughty Little Urchin Boys of the North Pole. I haven't played either of those. Hey Chris, love your stuff. Your anti-hype brought me in, but your humor and effort keeps me around. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I appreciate that a ton. John, are you going to Breakout Con? Yeah, I will. I'll be there the Friday and the Saturday. I don't think I can attend Sunday because I gotta get. I'm traveling that day, but I am making a concerted effort to go to Breakout Con. For those of you who don't know, that's a convention in Toronto. I've never been there before, so I want to check it out. Again, probably film a little vlog style thing, interview the creator of it, talk about how it's grown, and I think it would be interesting to look at as sort of a not even a mid-sized convention, but like just the step above general meetup. Like they have a bunch of stuff that the general meetup conventions don't have, and I'm interested to see what the difference is. So yeah, if you're going, John, say hi if you see me running around. Jack says, no, don't tell me Veiled Fate is good at 2. That's my defense against getting games, since most often it's player count. And if it plays it well at 5+2, it would be so great for my groups. I know. I'm really excited. So at 6 to 8 players, I was like, how can a game play this many players? 6 to 8 players, I haven't played it this way. I assume this would be the most fun way to play, but I enjoyed it too. But you have to have the right person. You really do. If you aren't going to constantly be like playing those mind games, and if you're just going to be focused on the board, I don't get it. Like I don't think that's the vibe, or like don't look into it. And when I say get it, don't get it. Like don't just run out and get it. Like obviously do your research. You know this. But at 6 to 8, you're on teams, but you don't know who's on your team. So you're constantly bluffing these other things, and you're trying to find out who's on your team, and maybe let them make the move that'll push you over, or not fight against each other. I think that could be cool, but yeah, two player was awesome. I can't lie. My nose will grow. Um, Much appreciated. By the way, thanks for helping out with Ankh expansions. Picked up only Pantheon so far. Really enjoying the gods big time. Sadly, no real secondary market for Veiled Fate in the UK. Yeah, I get that, right? Like, it's also been out just fairly recently too. So my personal philosophy, it's really, it's easy to want to track down the highly anticipated games, the games that have been out are just out. But I also am of the mind where I can wait. Like I don't mind waiting years, like literal years to get something. I'll wait until it's on sale, but that's just because I'm cheap. And I know that the sale will happen if I am diligent enough and I am looking on the secondary market enough. I know that it's gonna happen. So eventually it'll get there. Eventually that Terra Mystica sale for $30 will pop up, and you just have to be searching Kijiji every hour on the hour in order to make it happen. I don't really see the issue here with that. Hi, Chris. Greetings from the UK. Hey, which is your favorite Rising Sun clan, and do you think that the god that lets you buy from the market is overpowered? Great question. My favorite Rising Sun clan, I don't think I have done. I should rank the clans because I think that's a fun video and it lets me talk about Rising Sun. But spoiler alert for that video, definitely the Sun clan. I love the Sun clan. I love the Sun clan so much because it really focuses. My cat's meowing again. Sorry if that's picking up. He's a very chatty cat. But the Sun clan really amplifies the thing that I love most about the game, and that's reading your opponent's intentions. And if you can read your opponent's intentions correctly, you can get so many points and coins, and it just feels so good when you bid the exact amount that your opponent bid in the war, and you tie on everything and get 4 more coins and like don't even lose anything. Oh, it feels so good. From the non-expansion clans, it would be the Turtle clan, because I love the Turtle clan. They're really powerful and they're really easy to use. And then the other question was, do you think the god that lets you buy from the market is overpowered? I don't think so, but it's very powerful. I think it is the best god, right? But I think because it is the best god, if you play with players who have played a lot, there'll be a lot of competition for it, and that opens up other spots, and you have to choose when you really push in on it or when you don't. And I also think that if somebody's going for the gods, there's a strategy to counter it in terms of making sure they don't get coins, right? Like target the harvest areas where they would get coins and make sure that they don't get those coins. And then sure, they'll have a bunch of cards, but they'll enter into the second battle phase, or maybe even the third battle phase, probably not the third battle phase, but they'll enter into the battle phase with 0 coins, and people can just steamroll them and they won't win war provinces. So yes, I think it is very powerful. I think there are still ways to combat it, but I do think it's very powerful, and it is often something that I will go for sure, right? People will say, "Oh, don't listen to Chris. He just wants to steal the cards for himself, and he's just planning to tell you that it's not powerful." It's absolutely powerful, and it is something that you need to be cognizant of when playing with it. But then the coin thing becomes very important, and at a game of 6 players, for example, where coins are really scarce, it then becomes almost not inconsequential. The powers are good, but you have to figure out a way to chain them. Yeah, okay, I could talk about Rising Sun for ages, but I gotta say. Pierre says, hey, stopping by to say, continue producing amazing content. You're always positive and critical. Hope your channel continues to grow. Thank you so much, Pierre. Hey, thanks for dropping by. I really appreciate it. Old Slimy says 10 things I hate about Chris. That's the list for my girlfriend. Yeah, that's a good list. Might have to be 100, but what can you do? Yeah, play the hand that you dealt. Just join. Did you back Iridia? Never mind, you did. Watched your video and others and just backed. I actually won Iridia. I won Iridia on the Board Game Geek giveaway contest. If you're not checking these Board Game Geek giveaway contests, check them out. There's so many board game contests, and if you just enter all of them all the time, chances are you'll win one eventually. Here are the ones you should check out. The Board Game Geek has the sponsored contests. Board Game Revolution has tons of contests. I won a game, Kingdom Rush Elemental Uprising on that one. I've been very fortunate. I've been very, very fortunate with board game giveaways. Uh, uh, Quackalope is doing weekly giveaways. These are very, very doable. These are easy to win. You just have to watch his Saturday videos and like give him a thumbs up so that he knows that people are engaging in it. That's what he wants. He also now has a Facebook group called Board Game Pond, and they're doing some more giveaways over there. They just gave away Creature Comforts over there, so check that out. There's one called the Board Game Group that has Gleam giveaways as well. Their Gleam giveaways are a little bit more annoying because they make you wait 5 seconds, even if the task doesn't actually take 5 seconds to accomplish. It's like, check out this person's check out the Board Game Group's Facebook page. It's like, yeah, I came from there. Why are you making me go back and wait? Yeah, so that's there are so many places, and then companies' Facebook groups too. That's why I follow Come On Facebook, because they had a giveaway for Ankh that I desperately, my friend, they said post a picture with your cat, and she dressed up in full like cat makeup, and then they did a random drawing, and I was like, this is affronting to me, that like the artistry that this person did for this cat bit, and then you pick a random blurry photo. I was so mad. But there's lots of giveaways. Oh yeah, why did I say that? Because I was talking about Iridia, and I'm so excited. But if I didn't win Iridia, I think that would have been like my treat for myself, basically, like my treat of the year. It was my number one of all time. It's like just everything on the campaign page really clicked with me, and so scroll through the campaign page and see if it really clicks. But it just looks really, really fun from what they presented. And hey, it could arrive and I could be like, oh no, I should have done more research and not gotten overwhelmed by the detachable heads. But I don't see that happening. What I am worried about is that it is another big campaign game, and I want to play Aetherfields, and I want to play Tainted Grail, and we haven't like scratched the surface of those campaign games. So I try to divide up my groups in terms of campaign games of what I can play. And so that I've got a rotation going. You mentioned earlier you would like to own every other AR game, Awakened Realms game. What other publishers are you a fan of? It's a great question. I went through my collection recently, well, not recently, but over the last year on the channel, to look at what publishers I have the most of in my collection, because I thought that was interesting. And Come On came out on top, just because I do love Rising Sun so much. I think Blood Rage is fantastic. And then they have a lot of other subsidiaries of stuff that they've published, because they have Sheriff of Nottingham now, although the art's horrible. They had Lorenzo Il Magnifico. I think they had a hand in, like, or at least it says "Come On" my box, basically. The others is pretty fun. I like the stuff that Come On generally produces, but I also recognize that it isn't all for me as well. So I don't think Come On would actually fall into that category. Stonemaier would fall into that category. I think everything Stonemaier produces is really good, like just really, really good. Great quality of components and like great gameplay and really well developed. Stonemaier would be the answer to that one for sure. Do I have any relations to Ryan George? Wouldn't you like to know? No, I don't think so. I don't have a Ryan George in my family, but maybe a long lost cousin. What are some higher player count games you like? Often for me, it's Social Deduction, like the Chameleon and Avalon. But my groups loved Awkward Guests recently, and it surprisingly worked really well at 7. Awesome. Awkward Guests is on my list of things to get. That's good. Avalon is my go-to for sure. I really love Avalon. I want to get like playthroughs of Avalon on the channel because it takes us so long to do it. But I think it would be fun to watch, similar to the Blood on the Clock Tower sort of stuff that No Rolls Barred does. I would like that. Um, Avalon is my go-to. Uh, that's a great question. Higher player count being more than six. That's what I'm assuming, right? Often now I will push for splitting up and doing two different games. It takes the right group to be able to do that, but for the games that I like, they often play at that lower player count. Um, I used to really search out games for six players though because of that. So Catan, I still think was my go-to for six people. I mean, I haven't played Catan in ages though. Now, Wavelength is my go-to now for a larger group of people as well. I'm looking at the shelves to remember. Played Mysterium the other day. That again at seven is pretty all right. Um, Oh, my girlfriend's whispering off stage. Letter Jam, but that only plays up to six. So Letter Jam only plays six. Yeah, Avalon, but Wavelength is another really good go to seven player game. It's tough because you want a game that has like meat to it, right? Um, Veiled Fate very well could fall into that category. I know I hate to hype it up, but it's just because it's the on the mind. Regardless of the outcome, I appreciate it. I also love your videos, content. Thanks so much. Learned a lot from them using guides to help craft a fun dude on the map experience. Cool. Yeah. No, send me the email. Really do. And like, let me know where you're at in terms of stage of development, whatever. More cat. I know. He's wondering. Next time he comes by, I'll grab him. This is so much better in the chat than when there were no comments in the chat because I wasn't live. Um, I was reminded of that because I had to move Barony out of the way down below. That's true. Waiting got me Lost Ruins of Arnak with the expansion for the price of the base game, and also Anachrony for the same fashion. Pre-loved games for the win. Absolutely, right? There are so many games out there that have that people aren't gonna like that you will like, right? That's how I got Anachrony as well. I got the essential edition or whatever, and I paid for. It has the expansions in it, not the minis expansion, but that's fine. And I paid the same price that the essential edition is being offered for. If you can find a network, I know, and not everybody has access to this, right? Like you're not in the right city, you don't have a good system of that. But if you are in sort of a major city and there isn't a board game swap group, like just make one on Facebook. Really, that's my current go-to. Is for that. Um, Thanks for the hundreds of hours of work you put into content. I've giggled more than once. Fantastic. Hopefully 3 times. That's my goal. If I get 3 chuckles, honestly, like what more can you ask for? Do you have any experience with Dungeons and Dragons and other RPGs or Warhammer related board games? I don't personally. If you wanted, I should really do. I want to get Zach more on the channel because I love hanging out with him. But Zach is my D&D expert. He has been doing D&D for years. He's an incredible dungeon master. He people used to pay him to be their dungeon master, and then he was like, that's it's not as fun. He is my go-to for anything RPG. So the only RPGs I have played have been with Zach running them. The most notable one, we did a full campaign of the Mouse Guard, which was pretty fun. It was all about character development. We were all these mice. We had so many stories in that one. I could go on for ages. Yeah, Zach is my go-to D&D, and Zach is also my go-to Warhammer. He's gotten really into Warhammer, and he's gone the cheap route of I'll just get a bunch of armies and paint them and fashion an army and just have fun with it, right? Like, see if these weird builds that I've mishmashed together can make something happen. So he's my go-to person on both of those counts. I really like RPGs. It's just currently, especially with YouTube, I have to spend my time on board games, and even just having one night a week currently is not. I just can't fit it into my schedule. Do you have any favorite board game artists? I know I've backed more than one game out of art appreciation alone. That's old slimy. Yeah, that's a great question. I don't have as much of a familiarity with the actual artists' names as I do with designers, right? And I should, because there are some great artists out there. What's my favorite art in a board game? Honestly, Townsfolk Tussle comes to mind. That's I bought Townsfolk Tussle on the basis of the art and not the gameplay, really. Um, let's see. Trying to think. I'll come back to that if I have an answer. My obvious one is the only artist that I actually know. Well, that's not the only artist, but the only artist whose stuff I consistently have is no, I forget his name. Adrian Smith, who does Rising Sun. Oh no, it's not Adrian Smith, is it? Dang it! Just delete that part. We'll edit that part out in post. Wait, this is live? No. Um, yeah, I see people talking about art all the time. It's strange because art absolutely draws me in, but I am a wicked bad boy, and I don't remember their names. Um, let's see. Hello, glad to catch a live stream. I found the channel about a month ago and have been watching all your content ever since. Ah, thanks, Raider. Uh, anything with art from Vincent Dutrait, I have to look into. What games has Vincent Dutrait or Dutrait? Uh, what have they done? Daniel says, I recently fell in love with Spirit Island, and as our taste in gaming is very similar, I think you'd like it too. Have you tried it? And if so, which is your favorite spirit? I have tried it. I do have it. It's back on the shelf. It has been burned in a couple of death matches, but I keep a picture of it just to remember it by. Yeah, I really like Spirit Island. Honestly, it's a game I wish I got to the table more. Uh, I've played it, but I've played it a decent amount of times, but not enough. I think my favorite spirit is the ocean, the waves, whatever the title of the spirit, but who can only exist on the ocean. I think mechanically that one's so tricky, but it feels cool to just swallow up the cities and houses on the coast, right? That the ocean just takes back. I think that one's really cool. Yeah, Spirit Island is really good. Like it takes a while because and you really have to trust that the other person is doing the correct thing with their rules because you can't talk it out. And I think that brings it a bit down for me because I like talking out the moves. I like talking, and so in a co-op game, I like being able to be like, okay, I do this, and then have the other person go, oh, I do this cool thing, and I do this. But it just would be too long if you did that. So that lowers it like a tiny bit for me. I still think it's exceptional, right? I would give it a seal of distinction in a review sort of scenario. Um, where do we go? Here we go. I've laughed more than 3 times, so your work is done. I'm unsubscribing. Yeah, fair enough. Honestly, I appreciate our relationship and wish you all the best. um, hey man, love your channel. I'm new to the hobby, kinda. Regards from Israel. Oh, cool. Still learning what I like and don't. What made you start doing YouTube? That's a great question. That could be a long question, but I'll try to keep it as condensed as possible. I love board games. Obviously, what a dumb answer. That's not positive. I come from a performance background. I am an actor. I do stage, film, voiceover, whatever. And then pandemic hit, and I lost all my contracts. So I spent the first year of the pandemic playing Hearthstone and thinking that I was going to be a Hearthstone Twitch streamer, which I could still do on my off time. I was gonna be like, yeah, I'm a free to play. That's where the hashtag that I've been trying to force on this channel, no money, no brains, was gonna be like the tagline of that Twitch channel because I wasn't gonna spend anything on it, and so that was but for a long time people had said like, hey, you should do a board game channel, and I was like, yeah, I don't know why I wasn't motivated to do it. And then I spent that year just really not in a great place. I basically like thank goodness for government assistance because like all my work was really gone, and then all the other work that I could do to supplement it, like just go pick up a serving job, well that was gone too. So I uh, I finally was like, no, you know what? Get up off your butt. And legitimately, and I think this is why I am really thankful for Alex from Board Game Co. His friendship is that I saw the success that Alex was having on YouTube. I was like, here's a guy who's got a new channel, who's doing like really pumping out content, and people are responding to this. I'm like, okay, so the market isn't completely saturated for this. Um, I can do something as well. And then so I started in that regards, and it was also thanks to my friend Reed, who was putting out the game Vigilante. I was like, Reed, I will review your game for you. Like that'll be the first review that I do on the channel. I spent so long on that review, like doing the top. I was trying to do this thing for all reviews where you wouldn't see my hands, but all the pieces would just appear. So it was gonna be like stop motion. It just took so long to edit, but so that really helped get me started. That gave me the initial push of creating a video, and then I took like a month to really figure out the direction of the channel and how and what I wanted to do and how I could exist in the space and what I thought was lacking from the YouTube space, and that's where I sort of stumbled upon. Well, not stumbled upon. Like this is my own mentality that I'm cheap, right? And I looked at all these other channels that were like, yeah, you just back everything, get everything, everything's good, so you should just get it if it's good. And that model doesn't work for me because artist salary, you're often on a smaller income, and so then I decided. So then I put out a few videos being like, well, have you read the rule book? Have you really read the rule book even? Or do you just see the pretty pictures? It's really, because I was telling that to myself. And so that helped me develop traction. And then I just wanted to have, long story short, I wanted to have a creative outlet. And it felt good to be creative again and good to sit down and like write scripts for everything that I would do and try to write little dumb jokes or whatever until things progressed a little bit more. So yeah, and then I thought I just keep thinking of things that I want to see and I don't necessarily see people doing. And that's not like people are doing some variation of them, right? But for my Monday video roundups, I'm like, okay, I haven't seen somebody who I haven't seen more than just like an overview, and I just give an overview, but at least I read through all the rule books in order to try to provide like both an informative side of things and then like a creative sort of funny, not take yourself too seriously sort of thing. So hopefully that even if the game isn't interesting, I can make it a little bit interesting and we can just hang out and have fun. So yeah, so just being able to apply myself creatively over the last year has been just really, really wonderful. That's the long and the short of it. Sorry, that was a bit long. You just doing YouTube. Can't check you to burn your copy of Rising Sun. Oh yeah, I did have to burn Rising Sun in the epic death match. I forgot about that. Yeah, it's hard to have time for board games and RPGs. My old game group has now shifted to be entirely D&D, and it's harder for me to get time for board games. Yeah, absolutely, right? These things sort of shift. I really like the others too from Come On. Ironically, I accidentally bought Greed twice. Do you prefer to be the Sin or the good guys? I'm fine with both, honestly. I think I might have a slight preference towards the Sin, but I'm cool with either. And it's great. In the others, we just print it out. Like Zach and I've only played it with Zach really, and I think Brandon's joined in once or twice. But we're like, man, this is a lot of fun. We're not going to buy all the expansions. We're just going to print out the different abilities for all the different characters and then use the same 7 minis every time and randomize them, and it's been great. So I have all the Sins, I have all the characters in one little box because they're all printed out. Ron says, retail game deals, mostly at Target, have been all over many of the board game groups. What would be your top retail game recommendation for your tastes? That's a great question. Up here in Canada, we don't have Target, which is a real shame because that is so exciting to me that there are so many great games being put on the shelf at Target. It's fantastic. I would be in there all the time just looking, right? So I feel like the question is retail games from that sort of big box store Target side of things, what I recommend or would be my favorite. I don't quite know the selection that they do have to be able to say it, but I will maintain that I think Wingspan is just a solid buy. It's a boring choice. It's an average choice, but it's one that my girlfriend likes and will play with me, and I think is I also think is not a gateway game. I want to do a full review on Wingspan because I feel like it's often put forward as a gateway game, and it is something that almost any parent I have taught it to has had a really difficult time just getting the mechanics of it. Um, but I think, I think Wingspan as like the sort of mass market that appeals to my taste. And it's weird because Wingspan is one of those games I've played now a lot, and I think I don't want to play Wingspan again. I want to play something new. But when I play it, I always enjoy it. Um, my family does a weekly lunch thing where we end up playing board games, so I got to balance games length and complexity. Yeah. But it ends up being a game of Catan and a cutthroat game of Dutch Blitz. Well, yes, Dutch Blitz with the expansion pack. That is a fantastic 7 to 8 player game. Yes, please. Yeah, wavelength for would be that would be a good one. It's a nice team game. I like it better than Codenames, although I do like Codenames still. What instantly makes you want to play a game, and what immediately turns you off from a game? Oh, that's a great question. Instantly makes me want to play it. Ah, a big game in a small box. That's what really gets me excited. I think of the space-saving possibilities, and I think, ooh, and imagine if this game is really chonky and has so much replayability in this small small box. That's what makes me want to play a game. 100%. I say that because I just got somewhere. It's up there. I just got sent out of the blue, which is awesome. The Red Cathedral, and there's a new expansion for Red Cathedral by Devere Games, and I'm significantly looking forward to this fare by Devere Games rather than the other bad fare that they sent. But this I've read some reviews about it. I've heard about it, and you know what? I lied to you. That is still in shrink because I just got it. So there was a question about what's still in shrink. It's the Red Cathedral. But yeah. Oh no. Are you kidding me? God damn. Said, hey, I think I see your microphone is perfectly in focus again. Oh no. Is that really what's happening? I think it might just be the stream quality as well, because it's being scaled down for my internet. But luckily this hasn't been horrible. I was gonna set up different I had set up a bunch of cameras so I could switch and do like confessional cameras and turn to it for one-off jokes, but the load on the streaming was too much, so they had to get cut. So shoot, I hope that it isn't on my on the stream. The stream just looks a bit blurry to me, but on my OBS it looks like I'm in focus. So I don't know. Maybe it's the resolution quality. If it is, maybe that'll just be my shtick, just blurry. I want to remain anonymous like Sia. So perfect. And also hello, hey Morgan Knight, thanks for dropping by. Raider, new Robinson Crusoe cover, Museum, Lewis and Clark, new Amon Ra, all by Dutrait. Oh, okay, cool. Nice. Oh yeah, I like that style. I definitely like that style. That's cool. That's cool. I haven't played any of those. I haven't. My friend has Lewis and Clark, and it's always the one where we're like, we can play Lewis and Clark, or we play something else. We always end up doing something else. Oh, Vincent Dutrait does the art for Detective City of Angels. Ooh, that's cool. I really like that, actually. That's such a gritty one. Reed says, what's the weirdest secret message you've seen imprinted on a foreign version of a popular filler game? Well, Reed, I believe you know this answer, and I still haven't looked up what it actually is. Reed, this is Reed. He's the designer of Vigilante, part of the inspiration of this entire YouTube channel. How's that for a shout out? We at Origins, if you didn't see our Origins video, we played Six Nimmt. And this is my first time playing Six Nimmt, but on the back of the box, it was a Chinese version, or all the rules were all in Mandarin characters, I think. But on the back of the box, it said, "God may love you, but sometimes I don't," or something like that. Like that was the God may love you, but sometimes I don't. And it's like, who are you talking to? Why do you need that reminder on the back of this box? It was something along those lines. I don't think that's the exact wording. I don't know if Reed's looked it up. If you have, drop it in the chat. He did the art for Autre, gorgeous game. Okay, so it's probably Dutre, I've been saying. Hey, Justin, how's it going? Given how funny you are, have you been a comedian or thought of doing it? Thank you. That's a very nice compliment, Yellow. Um, actually, I've dabbled in stand up a bit. I am currently the the funniest man in Toronto before the pandemic. Um, this is my big check. Chris George was the winner, $100 for Outlaugh season 2. I participated in this Survivor comedy show, and I ended up winning the thing. But I attribute that more to it being Survivor, and I could gamify it, and I just ran the game with a couple friends. We pretended we didn't know each other, and then we just ran the game from both sides of it, versus my actual comedic skills. But I did have to write stand up for it. We had to write a bunch of sketch comedy every week. It was an 8-week show, and so every week we had a new challenge, and that was such a fun show to be a part of. So stressful, mainly because of the Survivor part, but then also because of the stand up part. Because I like stand up, but I'm not as adept with it as I am with some other sort of performance styles. My favorite joke that I did write for the stand up was that. Yeah, both of my sisters, they just had kids, two white boys, so kind of behind the times on that one. I thought that was a pretty funny joke. It got a good response. Um, Martin says all the best. Don't stop till 40K Warhammer style. Yeah, absolutely. Let's get there. Maybe I already asked, but did you initially plan to create weird recurring characters, or did that just happen naturally? We talked a little bit about Slippery Jim earlier. I talked about how I'm sad that Slippery Jim gets all the attention and all the focus. Really, I always want to bring him in. But I didn't really intend to create weird reoccurring characters. They just kind of happened. Maggie happened, and oof, it was wonderful time in my life, the love of my life. I met the love of my life on this channel, Maggie. You all know her. Oof, girlfriend didn't hear that, thank goodness. But and then Pablo came in, and Pablo was just going to be a one-off as well. And then I just found it so funny that I had to keep bringing him back, because I really liked my initial bit for Chili Mafia, because I was like, I don't really know what to say about Chili Mafia. It seems like you get what you get, and it is the price that it is, and did a really good job of telling you what the game was. And then I just thought it was funny to have Pablo. So no, so the answer is no. I wasn't planning for them to be reoccurring, but now I really look for places where they can occur, or I want to look for more places. Sometimes when I don't put one in an episode, I'll be sad because I miss them. Stardew Valley the board game has a surprising amount of content in the box. Played it yesterday. I was really impressed with it. Awesome. That's great. The only thing I know about Stardew Valley is the sort of reliance on the dice rolling. What doesn't attract me to it is, I have heard this. I haven't played it, so this is just from various sources, various secretive sources, probably various reviews. I've heard that you could just spend your whole time fishing, just hoping to draw the right fish, and you'd never draw the right fish, and that turned me off to it a bit. But I'm glad to hear you're liking it. That's awesome. Yeah, I was thinking Red Cathedral. So much stuff in a small box. The TARDIS of board games. I'm really excited to get that to the table. Yeah, I've read through the rules, but even though it's still in shrink, I was watching reviews and was thinking, okay, what do I do this? So I'm really stoked. And the expansion is here. I'll just grab it. The expansion is the same size too. I don't think what makes me disappointed about this expansion, and it's not Red Cathedral's fault, it's because it is in such a small package. The expansion is about the same weight, and so obviously you're not going to be able to get it all into one box. So I hope it's easy to separate and whatever. But yeah, I like the initial mechanics of this. I also hope it's not too mean because my gaming groups don't go in for mean games that much, but we'll see. Yeah, I am excited to check that one out. Um, that's why I'm so hyped for Ahoy from Leader Games. Looks so good in a smaller package, and they're selling it for $40. I haven't looked into Ahoy yet, but now I wanna. That sounds great. Yeah, small package. Bitoku packs a lot in a box. Cool. That's great too. I've heard good things. I definitely recommend you play Lewis and Clark. Then it's one of my favorite games. Awesome. Okay, yeah. That's my friend Matt, who was on the Cottage Games list. We have an outstanding sort of once a week, not once a week, once a month. We get together and play the games that we don't get to the table that much. Because we both like heavier games and we want to get them to the table. Streaming is tricky. There's a ton of things that can go haywire. All good. Oh, thanks, Morganite. Well, you weren't here for the beginning of it, but I definitely wasn't online for 27 minutes and just talking to myself and thinking, oh, the chat's a little quiet, but I had people saying hi, so I thought that people were here. um, do you ever get turned off by games with terrible inserts? Yes. I love Avalon, but the plastic insert for the cards is so shallow they always fall out of the box. If the box is sideways, legit stops me from taking it out. That's interesting. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. Because when you open Avalon, I wasn't sure what you meant, but now I remember. Look, we open Avalon, and I don't know if we can see it, but it is like that, right? It slides out, and it is annoying, honestly. And people will hate on me for this, but I don't care. I'd just put an elastic band on it. I would. I am not scared of elastic bands whatsoever. And sorry, I thought my cat was coming in. Uh, yeah, I'm not scared of elastic bands whatsoever, and I love them on cards. And that's who I am. That's my most controversial board game statement, I guess. Um, Oh, great. Naked Girl HD says, only Putin didn't find girls with us. Wow. Thanks for we got a spam bot. That's great. Well, I'll remove you. But put user in a timeout. Yes, get in a timeout. Well, we can I know, yeah, they're in a timeout. Great. That's great. Love it. My entire personal Instagram account is devoted to seeing how many bots I can get to comment and follow on my on it. I just post these stupid photos of people dead in the eyes, holding a smile like they've been holding it for a family photo for ages, and then I try to make it as blurry and grainy as possible. Um, yeah. So Avalon plastic insert. Uh, it makes me just redo it, right? It makes me just take out the insert if I'm finding it's a bar and it is annoying, or just put like elastics on it. I find that with a lot of games with inserts with cards that they just go all over the place and they aren't effective. So I just elastic them, really. Who else would join you on your Kings of Board Game comedy tour? Wow. That's I feel honored that I am in the Kings of Board Game comedy tour, but I guess I could just call it that and then make that for myself. Um, that's a good question. I would say nobody. Nobody's as funny as me. No, I'm just kidding. Uh, I don't watch a lot of board game comedy. I would say Shelf Side. Yeah, the guy over at Shelf Side. His little what type of board gamer are you? I like those sketches. So that's who I would say. Then probably shut up and sit down too. Ignore the gendered rule. Yeah, of course. Just using the naming convention, of course. What video game do you really want to get a board game adaptation? That's a great question. Very interesting question. I'm so happy you all are here in the chat. Let me tell you, you're friggin' awesome. Thanks for being here. These questions are so fun to just hang out and talk about, and are really is this isn't me stalling for time whatsoever. It's just me expressing my joy. Um, my thing with video game adaptations for board games is I don't think they work. Maybe I haven't played enough video game adaptations, call me out on if I'm forgetting one that I love and have like said I loved, because I might be forgetting one. I just think like a video game was meant for that one sort of platform and that console. And the reason it is on that system is because there are so many things to automate. So trying to cram that into a board game form, I often think that the video game will be better. That's just me personally. That being said, in terms of like theme, something I would be like really excited for, I would just think of like my favorite video games. So Deus Ex would be a fun one, where I guess you could build up your characters, but get different cybernetic implants as you all ran around. That might be interesting in terms of actually like leveling yourself up to give yourself varied abilities. That could be fun. Just trying to think of the parallels. I don't know what if it would be a campaign. I wouldn't want it to be a campaign game because I like it over there. Yeah, I don't know. I'll try to think of more. But there's nothing there where I'm like, I really want this to be a board game because I really want it to have a sequel in the video game because I feel like that genre or that usage of it will probably translate to a better experience. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Drop some if you can think of any. Drop some great video game adaptations. All I'm thinking of with video game adaptations, I think of Steamforged, right? Like I think that they're so key. Like so, I think of Dark Souls and well, Bloodborne, I guess, and now Cyberpunk and um, Resident Evil and Monster Hunter and Horizon Zero Dawn. Like those are the types of games that I see, and I understand like the scope and the scale. But in order to try to translate the scope and scale, so okay, now I'm getting around to an actual answer. Bomberman. I think Bomberman's actually already a board game, but something where it is more of a spatial puzzle. I think could translate better to a board game rather than these epic campaigns. Personally. Oh wow, we've already been going for an hour and a half. I should probably wrap up soon, but we'll keep going for a bit. Uh, Here we go. Spam bots only gravitate to the best content creators. That's nice. Um, Oof, tech issues. Uh-oh. What? Let me know what tech issues there were and if they're resolved, and that might be where we call it if we are having tech issues. Um, have you ever played Android Netrunner? I know it's out of print. It's not impossible to find a used one. I have. I played it once. Two of my friends have had copies. I played it the one time, and I wasn't really pulled in by it enough to play it again. But somebody on the thematic bracket was like, Android Netrunner is so thematic, and wrote up a big explanation that it was so good that I pinned it so for people to read. Um, I don't have any questions. Just want to be a number for the algorithm. I appreciate that. Yeah, yeah. Comment something. Just say whatever. I'll lose my Great Western Trail Second Edition worst insert for me. Mine came without one because I got it secondhand. Or I have the first one. What's the gray one with the dumb faces? Hey Chris, what convention do we need to come to have a chance of gaming with you? That's a great question. I'm going to Breakout Con. I'll go to Breakout Con. That's in Toronto for 2 days, and then I don't currently have plans for convention traveling just because it's a lot of money to get places. But I'll try to be always upfront about any conventions that I'm attending. You know what? The Niagara Board Game Convention. I mean, don't like travel a million miles for it, but that is one that I'm looking forward to attending. That's like just a big meetup one, and yeah, that's one that I'll attend with like a group of neighbors and stuff. So that one I will try to be consistently be at. Um, Summoner Wars, both editions. This is another great game that I can recommend. Quick, asymmetrical, not too expensive, 1v1 card game. Have you tried it? Favorite faction? I haven't tried Summoner Wars. I've heard good things, but I haven't tried it. I'll have to keep an eye out. Paula Deming could do comedy with you, but she's live streaming elsewhere. Yeah, tell me about it, Mikey. Yeah, Paula Deming's her whole channel is board game sketch comedy. It's actually Deming with one M. I also made that mistake when sending out the schedule for the World Series of Board Gaming, and she was like, "Yeah, it's just Deming with one M," and I felt like the worst person in the world, but she says it's a common mistake, and so I'm doing my part. It's Deming with one M, the funniest board game comedy person around, forever. Maybe that'll get me some back in her good graces. I don't think I ever was not in there. Oh yeah, there are plastic bands called Plastibands that won't damage the cards. Been using them for a while. Yeah, people always tell me that too. I need to look into them. Thank you for. I'll write that down. Not out yet, but I've done playtesting for Slay the Spire. Is so rad. I can't wait for it. I would love to see what the people at Rusty Lake would make a board game. People at Rusty Lake would make for a board game. I don't know Rusty Lake off the top of my head. But yeah, Slay the Spire was obviously one that I was thinking of because it is a board game. It's just a board game on the systems. On the systems. Yeah, that's what they're called. We're sticking with that. What is down here? Oh yeah, it's Red Cathedral. This War of Mine is a good video game turned board game. Yeah, that's a great shout. That's one that I really want to try. And I got the video game, and I'm not like crazy about the video game, but I've only played it a little bit on Switch. There was a sale, so I got on for like $5. Have you played This War of Mine? Yeah, I really want to. I only have a few on my wish list, and it's definitely up there on the top of my wish list. I thought Stardew Valley did a really good job. Oh yeah, that's a video game. The Doi. That's probably why the question was asked. Dumb. Not you, me. Oftentimes video games to board game adaptations get really fiddly. Yeah, that's often my concern as well. Andrew said, "Hey, asked a question earlier, but just want to say I love your content. You, Shut Up and Sit Down, and The Dice Tower have been my recent go-to lately. I feel like that's an incredible compliment. I feel in fairly good company there. So thanks for being here. I really mean it. It's really cool and touching to me that I can go live and have people who want to hang out with me. And that's pretty rad. That is pretty rad. I especially love your 5 reasons not to back something. Yeah, those are definitely the best growth ones for my channel as well, because they help reach the most people, right? And then people can get sucked into my weird slippery gym videos that for some reason people aren't searching for on YouTube or Google. I'm not quite sure why that is. You'd think he would be a icon by now. Oh, naked girls are back. Looks like we found you a girl. No, I want to hide the user on this channel, and definitely not add that user as a moderator. Can you imagine? The Space Invaders retheme of Flip Ships is a good adaptation of a video game. I'm excited. Flip Ships is in our Hidden Gem Deathmatch. I don't know if you were the one who suggested it, Justin, or not, but I'm excited to get to that matchup. I don't know what we have today. I'll post that when we finish here. Andrew said, also love the non-clickbait thumbnails. Appreciate it. That's good, right? Like it's a thumbnail is. It's interesting. I've done a lot of thinking on thumbnails and trying to make them a bit better and more clickable. But I also, again, don't want to be necessarily misleading. That's just for me personally. But like Mr. Beast is the YouTube god, right? And his thumbnails are fantastic because they tell such a story. And they aren't misleading. They deliver on the promise of the video. So that's the key to a good thumbnail, just in a YouTube sort of thing. Yeah, Niagara Board Game Convention. Is that the Niagara Board Game Weekend? I thought it read it's canceled for 2022. It was canceled. It usually happens in January. Or at least I've only been there once, but but I would have been there multiple times. Like I went there 2020. I think it would have been 2020 before COVID happened. So I would have, it has been canceled for the past 2 years, but I imagine 2023 would be a go, and it is one thing that I will try to make happen, because I think it'll be fun. What non-party board game have made you laugh the most while playing? That's a good question. Often it's about just the people who you're playing with, right? So, and depends how you define party board game. I guess like not meant to laugh, like the purpose of it not being laugh. Dutch Blitz always makes me laugh because I play with Zach and Brandon a lot, and we're all swearing or singing, or that's always fun. Um, Sheriff is always pretty good at providing a good laugh. That's one of my favorite board game moments is with Zach over there. Zach Groombridge makes me laugh. Let's be real. Playing anything with Zach Groombridge, you're gonna laugh. That's just how it is. Um, yeah, so that would be my go-to. I'll try to think of off the top of my head some other funny moments. It's usually when somebody does something so inconsequential, or it just like links up in the board game, and you just the perfect story happens, right? Um, Rusty Lake's like these weird, surreal horror point and click escape room style games with secretly deep lore, Flash era style art. Oh, that sounds cool. Yeah, that would be a cool game, wouldn't it? You could do like an exit style game or whatever. Excuse me. Yeah, I found you via your reasons not to back Castles of Burgundy video. Cool. Then probably continued to back it, but also subbed to your channel and watched all the reasons not to back the videos. Yeah. I mean, that's great that you still backed it. Honestly, like that's what those videos are for, right? They're to provide that initial check to be like, hey, do you really want this? And if the answer is yes, then awesome. Like then you really want it. And that's exactly what they're for. So I'm thrilled. Thank you for being here, Raider. That's cool. Thanks for dropping by the stream. Thanks to everybody who's been sticking around so long. Jess Christie's got to head out. Well, you're the best. Love you, bud. Amazing live. Let's keep growing Chris's channel, y'all. He deserves the world. Thanks so much, Jess. That's very sweet of you to say. Um, yeah, that's cool. So there was. I've finally caught up with the chat, which is really which was really exciting for me. But there's one question that I wanted to, two questions that I wanted to talk about because they were asked on the Q&A when I made a post about them. And one was red flags when looking at a Kickstarter. So for the biggest red flags for me looking at a Kickstarter are if they don't have shipping prices listed, obviously. If they don't have a rule book listed, obviously, because then they don't have a fully formed example of the game or how they're going to get it to you. That's just I categorically won't back it if they don't have that sort of stuff listed, or I won't even consider it. And now I'm like not gonna cover it if that stuff exists, because if that isn't there and I don't get a good sense, like I probably won't cover it. Because why would I subject you all to talking about it? Unless it's funny, unless I could do a funny bit with it, then I'll cover it. But if I can't, then I won't. And then also backer to like price ratio or backer to funding raised ratio. If you see like a ton of funding and then you see that it's like 3 or 4 backers who've contributed at that $1,000 tier, it's the interest in it from a wide range isn't actually there. It's just them pushing their numbers up and hopefully dropping it back and not paying for their own product down the line. That's what I think. And then the other one was, what theme and mechanics do you often feel or would be cool to mix with a game? This is what I was talking about in the Zach files, the stuff when the camera's off. I was thinking about how to make an interesting game, because my friend, when we were driving back from Origins, Yuval was wanting to get more ideas. And so I was literally looking at things around the side of the road and then saying them and trying to pretend that they were organic ideas. I'd be like, lamp, car door. You ever made a game about car doors? But one that I actually thought could be cool was like creating a sunset or the formation of clouds. And it could be like a tile placement game. I don't know. But like how you create these clouds to create this larger picture, and maybe there's a light mechanic of like refracting light off to give you beauty points or something dumb like that. I don't know. It's not fully formed, but I think that theme could be cool. I like themes that aren't that aren't normal, right? That aren't the standard sci-fi versus not. Yeah, you know what I mean. Here we go. Have you tried Foundations of Rome? I haven't, or managed to get a copy. No. I got my Emperor's Edition last week, so looking forward to table it with friends tomorrow. Awesome. That's great. Yeah, no, I haven't tried it. I saw it at Origins. I saw it out, and well, so much plastic. I was like, that's how you do table presents. And it kind of reminded me of like mini Santorini for everyone, of just all the different plastic things, plastic buildings that you can put on the table. It's just very expensive. It's too expensive for too rich for my blood, honestly. But I would try it if they sent me a copy to review. I doubt they will. So it's not on the top of my list, but you'll have to let me know if it's good or if it's good or not. I hope you have a great time with it. I really see the appeal with the table presence, and I don't know too much more about the mechanics. Honestly, I haven't looked into it that much, but the table presence itself is, yeah. I mean, like that's why you get it. Let's be real. Ryan, hello, hello. Hey, Ryan. Hi, how's it going? We might be wrapping up the stream. Let's say we'll stick around here for another 15 minutes. A 2-hour live stream. That feels like the right place to stop. Before you drop like a ham-fisted dice roll off the table. All the best, brother. Oh, I appreciate it. Found you from the reasons not to back Final Girl. Also backed it anyway. Hey, yeah, that's great, right? Like that's how we do it. That's how we do it. That's the point of those videos, and that's also why I was so thrilled that like AJ especially for Final Girl. I don't often post the 5 reasons on Board Game Geek, although I could probably see a bit more traction if I did. I don't know. I don't post them. Somebody told me I should. I don't think I will. If you want to post them on Board Game Geek, any 5 reasons, do it. Go for it. I'm probably not going to. But I did post that one on Board Game Geek for Final Girl, and AJ responded. He was like, if it wouldn't be dumb marketing, I would put this on the main campaign page. And I was like, that's really touching. And then I met him at Origins, and he was like, oh, yeah, I remember our interaction. And I was just really thankful for that sort of interaction, because that shows that, like, you get it, right? Like, you get that it's to look at it critically. It's to take your emotion out of it for a second and to see, is this something that has staying power, or is this something that is just going to be a flash in the pan that I'm going to have to spend the energy to sell down the line. So yeah. Yeah, hey buddy, always enjoy the content. You ever plan to cover my father's work once the app is available? I just joined, so sorry if it's been asked. It hasn't been asked. I don't know too much about my father's work. I remember seeing it on Kickstarter. I think it would have been before I started doing crowdfunding countdown. I don't think I covered it in that. So that's why I don't have a more full picture of it. I remember seeing the sort of hype around it. I know that it raised a lot. I know that the art looks cool. That's about all I know. So I don't have plans to cover it because I don't currently own it. And so my current coverage plans are the games that I picked up from Origins that I have like review responsibilities to do, and then some additional games that I just really like. And I think I can say something about that is helpful and hasn't necessarily been said. If it's an older game, I probably won't review it for the sake of reviewing it. But for something like Wingspan, I want to do a review on Wingspan because I want there to be a review out there that really explicitly states that I don't think it's a good gateway game. I think it's a great game, but I don't think it is specifically a good gateway game. So like something like that, I would do a review on. But yeah, well, you never know what the future holds. I'm trying to manage my the amount of games I'm able to review or committed to reviewing, because I don't like taking a game and then not being able to provide some meaningful coverage on it. And so that so the review output is going to be slowly ramping up, but I need people to play it with to review. What do we have? I'm not sure if you've talked about it. What are your thoughts on Tabletop Simulator? By the way, love your content, especially the conversation style videos. Oh, thanks. Keep up the great work. I know you definitely should be posting to board BBG board. I think it's BGG. I should be. Yeah, I know. It's just something about the, like, I'm proud of the content, right? Like I'm proud of it being a series. I like that it is so well received and that people come to this channel for it and leave feeling the intention of the video. Like I'm very proud of that, and I will continue to do that. It's just I guess people are searching on Board Game Geek. It just feels weird, you know? It feels like I'm directly going to the one place where people are first getting that initial interest of it and then being like, slow your horses. Whereas I think that's what it is. I would rather people be like, have had that initial interest, looked into it, and then be like, should I do it? and then come to those sorts of videos, right? I think that's my concern, is that I don't want that to be the first video you watch on a specific title, because I don't necessarily talk about the mechanics in great detail. I talk about what I like, but I don't talk about the mechanics like as I would in a review, and give a better summation. Oh my goodness. Fill your life with emotions, find love. I mean, who doesn't want that? I feel like that's another naked girls. But look at all those emojis that they're putting out. Um, that, well, you can't look at them anymore because I'm deleting them. um, right, back to tabletop simulator. I don't like it. I don't use it. I only have purchased it for work, for the YouTube channel, to play games with specific publishers who have it on there. I much prefer Tabletopia because it is a free resource to everybody, or you can have one person who has like a premium account and can invite people in. Yeah, I don't like that Tabletop Simulator makes you pay that initial cost for the base thing that nobody really ever uses it for. Um, and that it has been so prevalent that there is that. It's just because there is that cost barrier to entry. I don't mind playing games online. I think there's a method to that, and it's fun for it to be in a sandbox. It's also fun for it to be automated, but yeah, that's what puts me off about Tabletop Simulator, and so I will not gravitate towards it unless it is someone else's preferred method of playing. Um, Hey, we're not far from one another. Oh yeah, if you ever want to review Rome, oh you're right, because you're in Hamilton. Just let me know. But I know you got a massive list. Speaking of which, go play Sobek if you haven't yet. The Sobek for 2, I have. I played it the other day. I really like it. It's King Domino. It's the King Domino scoring in another way. Yeah, Pandasaurus. Pandasaurus is friggin' great. Everything they've been putting out, I've really enjoyed. I'm trying to think of one that I haven't. I don't know if I can. Yeah, and even the Skull Canyon Ski Fest, I played that a couple times now, and that's like another great option for a Ticket to Ride substitute. That's what I would say is my initial thing. Thoughts on app-based games? Only played Search for Planet X and Awkward Guests that use apps. I'm fine with it. I've like Chronicles of Crime uses an app. That's probably the one that I've used the most. I specifically use an app with Gloomhaven, and I'm looking forward to Lucky Ducks, since the other company that was doing it when Cephalofair was like, yo, like give us some money because you're using our stuff. And they're like, nope, we're not doing that. We're just going to keep using it anyway. And then they're like, okay, well, then you can't do it. Goodbye. I liked that app too because it made things easier. Yeah, I don't mind the app. I understand the fear, and I get it, because there was this great Sheriff of Nottingham app that had there was these voices in it, and you could set a timer, and then you could say how active the voices were, and they would say stuff like, I think he's lying. And when something like that comes in right after someone like has said a lie, it's so good. Like, it was such a fun timer app, and now that no longer exists, and I don't know why. So I understand like the fear of apps going extinct or not being updated, but I also think that if it makes the game easier and less bookkeeping, like you could do it without an app. It would just be really annoying. So that's why there's an app. It makes things easier. But I understand like the barrier to entry. I understand that also that potentially alienates people who don't have things that are able to run the apps, who are running with outdated technology. Like I get all those concerns. Tabletopia, it's just so poorly made, but each their own. I mean, yeah, Tabletop Simulator is a nicer engine for sure, but you know me, I'll go for cheap over nice anytime. I'm stoked to hear what you have to say about globetrotting tomorrow. Yeah, are you interested? Frightful Failures on SoundCloud. Are you interested in globetrotting? Are you currently backing? Well, yeah, I'll be filming that after this, so I'll get to it then, I guess. Have you had a chance to play your copy of Massive Darkness 2 yet? Yes. I know I'm only a year into the board game scene, but since I've had it, it hasn't left my table. I love it. Honestly, Drew, that is a very similar experience to me. If you want I have a whole conversation with my friend Zach. We compare Massive Darkness 2 and Zombicide, the pros and the cons. I mean, I think I had fun with the conversation. I had fun re-listening to it because I just thought like, oh, maybe I'll just hang out with Zach for a bit. It's really good. Yeah, Massive Darkness 2. I I feel like I've had such a good time with it. I often, anytime I'm thinking of a game night, if I don't have specific goals for that night, I'm like, well, we could play Massive Darkness too. Yeah, really fun. That's cool that you're only a year into the hobby, but like it's a good one. It really is. That's a good choice. Um, oh, you're interested and are picking up Canvas. Cool, but I rely on you to tell me whether it's a good deal or not. Yeah, that one. That one, it's tough. I mean, if you're getting Canvas with it, probably like if you've wanted to pick up Canvas, obviously there's an uptick from Canvas, and you could see if you could find Canvas in your local store first. It seems fun. It seems like a fine game. The globe thing seems like a bit of a gimmick for just a gimmick's sake, because they're like, Canvas works so well. What's our gimmick for this one, right? Um, but yeah, it seems okay. Uh, uh, if you want it, you want. I don't want to talk you out of it. I do want to talk you out of it. Don't get it. I think the base pledge, the retail version on that one. Well, I'll just save it for tomorrow. No, I won't. We're talking about it now. I'll I think the retail version on that one, you'll hear me repeat the same thing tomorrow. And then maybe I'll say, I've never said this before. Yeah, that'll be the joke just for you. The retail version that they're offering is like $15 cheaper than the limited edition. And the limited edition, you get these like 10 variable player powers, and that's it. And uh, and then six more global objectives. And that, like, the bump for that doesn't feel necessary. And since that's the only reason why you should get it on Kickstarter, I then am like, well, retail will probably be cheaper, as my sort of standard saying is. Um, yeah. So let me see if there are any other questions that I missed. Uh, so Harrison said, "Why did you choose to ruin my birthday like this and reschedule off of it?" I'm sorry about that, Harrison. I am. It would have been fun to say hi on your actual birthday, but everybody say happy birthday to Harrison right now. Um, and then the other question was, why did you decide to put so much effort into a YouTube channel? And that's, I mean, we kind of talked about this a little bit. Maybe this is a good question to end on. Uh, it I try not to do anything in terms of half measures. If I'm into something, I'm like, I'm into it. And so even if it's like a dumb amount of work that I should be cutting back on, I don't feel good about cutting back on it. Even though like I could, I've started to, like, for some of the games on Crowdfunding Countdown, I skim the rule book, right? Like, I don't read it top to tail. I know I've lost everyone here subscribing, but you skim it, you find the necessary parts, and I've gotten now pretty good at like, I don't need to read the setup, for example, right? Like, these obvious things where you read the passages that tell you, that create the complete picture of the game in your head, and then you look at the specifics if there is some if you're confused about that, right? Um, but I want to have that full picture. I think this is a sort of space where I would like to rely just on, conversational charisma, charm, whatever. Not that I am claiming to have any. I certainly do not. But yes, happy birthday, Harrison. Oh no, yeah, unsub. Hey, it's fair. Honestly, fair. Um, uh, I, it just feels like if you're gonna do something, do it, right? Like, that's my mentality. If you're gonna do something, do it properly, do it in a way that you'll be proud of, or hopefully will be proud of when you look at something back. I am well aware that even though a lot of the content, especially the Monday stuff, is potentially not evergreen content, which isn't the best YouTube strategy, and I tried to get away from it when I started doing it, and then people liked it, and so I kept doing it. Um, you got to do it. If you're gonna do it full out, or don't do it at all. You know what I mean? Like, I've put it's kind of the only way I know how to do things is to do copious amounts of research before I personally feel comfortable in doing like even the smallest thing. The year leading up to starting the YouTube channel, it was like just researching YouTube, and like was that researching YouTube, it's just watching a lot of YouTube videos for the most part. But watching it critically and watching it with an eye, and like really trying to consider every avenue so that the audience gets something of value, right? And so that the audience enjoys their time, is informed, and enjoys their time. It's YouTube is meant to be relaxing, right? Like I watch YouTube to relax. I watch content creators to learn about board games and to relax, because you're spending your off time looking into something fun, right? So that I think should be fun, and so that's why I try to put in as much work as I can put into it to make it fun. Because if it's not something that if I don't find it fun, then you certainly won't find it fun. And if I find it fun, well then yeah, you certainly won't find it fun. But at least I'm having fun. And the way to do that for me is like copious amounts of research, which again isn't the most sustainable, but and might have to be modified slightly in the coming weeks while I'm not at home and in my current setup. But we'll see. Not read the rules. How dare I? Do read the rules. I do. I just don't read all the flavor text or the appendices and whatever. Generally, Canvas is pretty great, but it bums me out that making your art actually pretty doesn't give you any points. You mostly make weird things just to get the points. Yeah, I get that about Canvas for sure. You want to make that pretty picture, right? And there should be an incentive to do that, but that's also subjective, right? Art is subjective, and that's what it is. Well, I think we're gonna call it. We have hit the 2-hour mark. There's 33 of you here, 33 likes. Oh, perfect, fantastic ratio, delightful. Thank you everybody for being here. I'm only ending it because it already felt self-indulgent to start with this thing, but people pushed me to do it, and I'm happy for it. And I appreciate hanging out, doing this live stuff. This was a lot of fun hanging out with you all. It's just great talking about fun things, and I feel very honored that you choose to spend your time with me, and that hopefully spending time and hanging out is a fun time and relaxing. Because again, like I am just being me as a person. I hope you don't feel like with that comment about perfectionism and like that I'm trying to put on a performance here. That's also one of the reasons why I haven't really or specifically and deliberately don't talk about being an actor on the channel that much, because I don't want you to know how horrible and actually horrible person I am, and that this is just all made up. No, because I don't want this to feel. I don't want this to ever pretend to be a performance, because it isn't. We're literally just hanging out. So I just really appreciate you all being here and hanging out with me, and that's just really cool. Thank you for everyone tuning in. Again, honestly, Stevens was the hero of the stream, because I thought I was streaming for 27 minutes and I was not. But thank you for all who stuck around in that time, being like, where the heck is this piece of garbage? I appreciate you all. Let's do this last few things. Really giving perfectionist vibes. Truly inspiring that you finished the things, not just doing copious amounts of research forever. That's fair. That's also something that you can get into, right? I have that. I mean, I did. I mean, you can see when this channel was created, if you go in the About section, I think it was like 2018. And so it took me till 2021 to actually like launch. So I had it in my mind to start this like 2018. And then I was like, no, I need to know more. Or I felt like I needed to know more games, right? Like, and I feel like a big chunk of my life right now is actively like learning everything about everything. And I know that's not something that you can actually do, but it doesn't stop me from trying to do it. So yeah. Thanks for your time. Thanks everybody. Yeah. Thanks so much, everyone. Till the next 5 reasons. Have a great day. Keep up the great work. Thanks. Loved hanging out. Great way to start the day over on the West Coast. Oh, amazing. Yeah, great. It's just early in the morning. Hi there. Love you, man. You are horrible in the most amazing way. Don't change, but only if you want to. That's honestly the best compliment I think I've ever received. One of my good friend Drew has said a sort of catchphrase that I've picked up from him. Not that I have a catchphrase. I don't. But he often says, "You've changed, not for the better." I just think that's so funny. Thanks, Chris. See you in a few for calling today's winner in Discord. Yeah, that's exactly where I'm going after this, is to go over to the Discord and figure out who won the previous match in the death match. I post there every day, so got to do a bit more research about the hidden gems that are coming up so that I can do a little blurb. I mostly take from Board Game Geek and do the blurb there, but I try to look into mechanics, because then when I talk about it, I know a little bit about what's going on. Yeah, that's it. Thanks so much, everybody. You all rock. I do not have a catchphrase, but I do have a potentially working live stream. Let me know if this worked. I think the video was kind of fuzzy the whole time, but at least it got a hopefully consistent, watchable broadcast. Last thing. Again, I really think you should sell What Would Chris George Do bracelets, because it's hard not to think while browsing Kickstarter. Like, I was looking at Bedeville Carnival, which genuinely looks corny, but I want it, and you made me think of what you'd say and the looks you'd make about it. That's fair. Maybe we'll get that with merch. Bedeville Carnival was already on GameFound May 3rd to 10th, and they're just doing it again, the exact same thing over on Kickstarter. So check that out. Check that section out. And if you want to know what would Chris George do, he would probably say this game looks just okay. Anyway, that's it. Thank you so much, everyone. I'm actually going to end the stream now. I know I could stay here for hours and hours, but I've got to film tomorrow's video and edit that up. So thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.